Guys, welcome back to Lawson's Car Reviews. My name's Tristan, and today I have for you a 2017 Audi A7 with the 2-liter turbo engine. So this car is the entry-level engine. You can get a few other options in it, but it's still pretty quick. I'm still impressed with it so far. Big shout out to my friend from work who let me borrow his car so I could review it. So let me go over the stats real quick with you on this 2-liter turbocharged engine. It has 252 horsepower, 273 foot-pounds of torque, and it does do 0 to 60 in around 6.3 to 6.5 seconds. So it's not really that quick, but that is because it has an all-wheel drive system, and that makes the car a lot heavier. So this car weighs in just a shade under 3,900 pounds. So in order to make it fast, you would need a little bit more than 252 horsepower. But I will say this, the look of the car on the exterior is very nice, very sleek. I've always liked the understated look of Audis. Love the headlights, the rear tail lights. I like the style of the exhaust tips. It's not quite an oval cut tip, but I like it more than the Challenger that I reviewed last week or a couple of weeks ago. Even though it does say that the 0 to 60 is 6.3 seconds, which I believe once the car picks up and gets going, it starts moving really nice. So I don't really feel like it lacks for power. Now there's plenty of room and storage in the glove box. So the trunk space, which I'm not that impressed with, I thought it would actually be bigger. Hold on, let's get on there a little bit. So the car actually shifts nice and smooth. It does have an 8-speed automatic gearbox, and it is very smooth shifting and very quick shifting. So I do like that from the car. And you do get good safety features in this, as far as blind spot monitoring. You get heated wing mirrors, and you also get memory seats. So it does store up to 2 different memory settings for the seating options. The steering wheel also is fantastic. Audi does great steering wheels. There's always a great feel to it. It's not as thick as a BMW steering wheel, and it doesn't have as aggressive 10 and 2 notches, but it's still excellent. You can definitely tell that everything in this car feels high quality. And this particular one does also have the engine shut-off feature. So when you do stop at a stoplight, it does shut the engine off in order to save gas. Speaking of gas, the car does get 24 miles to the gallon in the city and 34 miles on the highway. So it is quite an economical car, as well as a car that's decently quick. This one also comes with a sunroof. And what I will say is there's good leg room in the back of this car for your rear passengers, and they do have their own vents for their AC, so they're not going to burn up back there in the middle of summer like you can in some cars. But one thing that impresses me is I don't even have this seat all the way back, and I'm 6'4", and this car has got so much leg room in the front. When I put the seat all the way back, my legs are not comfortable reaching the pedals. So there's definitely a ton of leg room in this. I do wish that the pedals in this car were aluminium, or as you Americans say, aluminum. That would be nice, but I believe that you can get those in the higher, sportier models of this car. So the radio system looks cool because it pops up out of the dashboard when you turn the car on, but I don't really like the look of the font and the graphics. It looks kind of cheap, and it's also not touchscreen, which drives me nuts. When you've got a big screen like that and it's not touchscreen, I think that that's a missed opportunity for Audi. You might be able to get it in the higher trim models, but I'm not really sure. I'd have to Google that. Now, what I really do like about this car is the wheels. So it has awesome looking wheels, quattro wheels, and you get that on this premium model, but the wheels at the front are smaller than the wheels at the back, so it is a staggered setup. So I believe the wheels at the front on the width are 235, and on the back they're 255. And I will put on the screen what the sidewall is and the size of the rim. The lights, I've always loved the tail lights and the headlights on these Audis. They just have a really nice look to them. And on the newer models, they kind of have a sequential tail signal. You don't have that on this one, but you do have it on the newer ones, and that is really cool too. You have a really clear digital dash up front, and some quite nice analog gauges on top of that. So that is good. You won't miss the speed. And you get some pretty nice rubber floor mats, so that even in winter and when it's snowing, it's going to be very easy to clean those kind of mats. Now the door panels are very plain, and I'm not really a huge fan of the wood grain on the dash. It actually looks kind of cheap. It looks just as cheap as the wood grain on my Chevy Impala. That's a 2010. So considering this is an Audi and it costs a lot more than what my Impala does, that is a definite knock on this car. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put my foot down and see what the passing power is like. Okay, it's not bad. It does pick up. It takes a second to drop down to a lower gear and then to get you moving. But like I said, it's still decently quick. It's not going to blow you away with its speed, but it's a fast enough car. If you want something that's just a nice family car or a work car, it gets good gas mileage. It's pretty decent on speed and pickup. So I think that is fine. If I compare it to my V6 RS Camaro, which has 335 horsepower, this definitely does not feel as fast as that. And the closest thing that I can compare it to is if you take a look at my car review of the BMW 428i that I drove. This car feels similar to that in power, but I actually think the BMW feels like it's a little bit faster, and that was just a rear-wheel drive car. The seats are okay. They're not the most comfortable I've been in. The BMW seats are more comfortable than what this is, and I feel like the overall fit and finish of the interior and the feel of how the car drives, I want to say that I enjoyed the BMW more. That's not to say that this is a bad car, but obviously BMW, Audi, Mercedes, they're all comparable. They're all in the same class. And I would say that I feel like the BMW felt like it was a little bit higher quality, that it was a little bit faster, and the steering and the handling, even though it was a rear-wheel drive car versus this, which is an all-wheel drive car, the BMW felt a little bit better in that regard too. But this is still nice. I don't think if you bought it that you'd be disappointed with it, unless you drove the BMW first. One other thing that I want to mention is, considering this is a luxury car, I feel like I can hear quite a lot of wind noise when driving at the highway. I am just cruising at 71 miles an hour, and there's quite a bit of wind noise in this car, so that's kind of surprising, because a lot of cars like this are usually a lot more quiet. The brakes on this car feel excellent though. I will give it that. It has a very nice brake feel. Not too sharp, but when you really get in it, the car stops on a dime. You do also have these itty bitty paddle shifters on the steering wheel. They are a bit small. I wish that they was a bit bigger and that they didn't feel so plasticky. But at least you've got paddle shifters to shift manually if you want to. Now the car does have these puddle lights, so when you open the door, you do see the Audi symbol on the ground, which is pretty cool. So as you see, you do have different driving modes. So you can go between comfort, auto, dynamic, and individual. And you can set the individual to basically be however you want. So you can set the steering to be in dynamic mode, or you can set the steering to be in auto or comfort. I've got it in dynamic now, which is the sportier setting. You can do the same with the engine and transmission. So there is some flexibility in that. So now that I've got everything in dynamic mode, I'm gonna see how the steering feels different versus when I had it in comfort earlier. And the steering is definitely a little bit heavier now, but I will say the steering is still not heavy to my liking. It's still pretty light in my opinion. And it's in sports mode, so let's give it some gas. Alright, yeah, it's not bad. It's definitely, I can say without a shadow of a doubt, this car is definitely a lot slower than my V6 Camaro. So just to kind of give you a comparison, it's nowhere near as quick as that. I can tell just when I hit the gas in sport mode just then. I will say when I've got it in manual mode and I'm hitting the paddle shifters, the engine and transmission does change down gears really nicely, really smooth. There's very little hesitation between when you change down these gears. But yeah, the car's not bad. It's an okay car. I'm a little bit disappointed because I expected to like it a little bit more than what I do. I do like it, but not as much as I thought I was gonna like it. I definitely feel like a Chevy Impala, one of the new ones, is a more comfortable car. It's faster than this. The Chrysler 300 with all-wheel drive also feels just as luxurious as this, but it's larger, it's a little bit quicker, just to kind of give you a little bit of a comparison. So I'm going to go ahead, put my Lawson score up on the screen. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.